We have a lot of the Indigenous realities issues of Joyce Echequan. We saw, we had a lot of inquiries, commissions. People know about the unfairness of Indigenous peoples. So it would be nice to finally have a government that would take concrete steps towards reconciliation. I find a lot of people forget that the residential schools and all the reserves and like the Indian Act, everything was from the government. And they had such a huge agenda to break down Indigenous people, but they don't have a big plan to make up for what they did in the past.
We spoke with Nicole Janis Qavavauq-Bibeau, a young Indigenous voter living in Quebec who says she hopes whoever is elected Canada's next Prime Minister, they keep their promises to Indigenous people, and says there needs to be real reconciliation.
When there are federal elections, obviously, parties go out and give promises to most of the topics that you mentioned that you want changed. So what do you think federal parties have to do, not just promise, but what do you think they have to do to actually, take into consideration everything that youth want, which is in general what you mentioned, from what I've heard, from what I've been speaking with a few youths as well, and most of the topics turn all linked to what you mentioned. So what do you think they have to actually do?
You can say, oh, I'm gonna give clean water to all Indigenous reservations, but like when? In 50 years, in a year? A plan, a timeline, and give updates to the people as well as how they're gonna plan everything, who's gonna be involved in the plan. Are other parties okay with that too? Because we don't come as a, how do I say, like a strong government, like a unified, like only liberals. It's a lot like a little bit liberals, a little bit of conservatives. So if everybody's on board too, because that can block into when they try to pass motions or everything, that can be also a problem. So to make sure, like if you have a plan, everybody's on board.
Youth are a third of the vote. So what do you think the governments have to do to make sure that we participate in the vote?
Getting youth involved, like actually asking youth, going to communities, going to the city, going to CEGEPs, universities, ask students what they really think, and have a bigger image of what youth wants. Because I know maybe some older generations aren't as, they don't find it like the social climate as important as youth, because we have a little bit of more time here than them. So I think that would be a great way, I think, to make the youth feel heard.
In Montreal, Samsara Rainville, City News.